welcome to this new video tutorial of Magento 2 Multi-Vendor Marketplace Vendor Attribute Manager plugin. And in today's video tutorial, we'll be showing you how the Magento 2 Multi-Vendor Marketplace store admin would be able to create custom attributes for the marketplace vendors, and these attributes are visible to the vendor at the vendor registration page and the storefront. And apart from that, the vendors can edit the values of the custom attributes under their own profile edit section, and the web store users or the customers would then also be able to view those custom attributes for the marketplace vendors on their seller profile page as well. So basically, if the admin wants to extract or bring in more information from the marketplace vendors at the time of registration, this plugin comes in handy, and the admin can make use of the different sections like the text field, text area, date, drop down options, multi-select, and others for creating the attributes for the marketplace vendors. And apart from that, we'll also be showing you the admin backend flow, wherein we'll be showing you how the admin can set up the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace vendor attribute manager by Webkul, and the other sections as well for the sellers. So first of all, let's go to the web store front end and let's see what different custom attributes are visible to the marketplace sellers at the time of registration. So a customer, when he tends to become a marketplace seller, how he can enter the different custom data at the registration page of the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace by Webkul. So for that, let's go to the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace web store front end. So right now I'm at the web store front end, as you can see, and we have not logged in or signed in to our account. So we are on the create new custom account section, and from here I'll show you what different custom attributes will the sellers find. So if we scroll down a bit, here we have the vendor information section, and under that whatever custom attributes that the admin has created from the backend would be visible to the customers who want to register as a seller. So for example, we have set this checkbox option for the GST registered, whether the vendor is registered for the goods and services tax, the company name, the mobile number, the brands that the particular customer who wants to become a seller is going to sell out, the name of the company and the description about it. And we also set up the terms and conditions and privacy cookie policy that needs to be selected first before creating an account within the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace by Webkul. So these are the different custom options under the vendor information itself. And about the vendor information, we have the default fields for the sign-in information, as you can see here. And after creating an account, the marketplace sellers would be able to find these custom attributes under their edit profile section. So now let me take you further and let me show you how these particular custom attributes would be visible to the marketplace sellers. So for that, I'll be just logging into my seller panel account first. So I'll just tap here on the sign in button, and thereafter I'll be entering my username and my password to log into my vendor account within the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace by Webkul. And after login on the side panel under my account, we can go to the seller profile section on the left hand side, as you can see. Let me open that up in another window. So we'll just navigate to that particular page, and here we can see that the marketplace edit seller profile is there, section is there basically. So we'll just scroll down a bit, and here we'll be finding the custom attributes that the admin has assigned for the vendor registration. So lastly, where we have the option to view the profile and the collection buttons for the sellers, just below that you can see that here the sellers have the seller details section, and from here the marketplace seller would be able to even edit the information that he has added while registering himself for the marketplace, and can also view these details as well. And for example, if you want to change the number or maybe something else, you can do that. And just tap here on the save attributes button to save the additional custom seller attributes that were used for the vendor registration process. And then the sellers can navigate to their edit profile section and can view those particular attributes that have been assigned by the web store admin. So here you can see that the telephone number has changed now. Now let's go to the seller's profile page and let's see how these custom attributes get visible to the customers. So right now I'm at the Shoppers Mart that's located in Brazil. So here's the seller's profile page, as you can see. So here we have about, contact, shipping, and the rest of the details along with the products, ratings, and total number of orders. So here, if we just scroll down a bit, just under the about us, you'll be able to see the seller details, like whether it's registered for the GST or not. So here you can see a yes option is there, the name of the company, the phone number, the brands that this particular seller is selling out, and the company description as well. So this is how the additional custom attributes used for the at the time of the seller registration get visible at the seller profile page at the web store front end, and that's how the customers can check these details as well. Now let me take you to the admin backend panel and let me show you how these custom attributes can be created and be assigned to the marketplace vendors. So for that I'll just take you to the admin backend panel now. So I'm here at the backend panel, so I'll be logging into my Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace backend panel. So I've just entered my username and password, and thereafter I'll be logged in to my dashboard initially. So after the successful installation of this vendor custom attribute plugin, you just need to navigate through stores, configuration, so as to make the initial configuration settings. And on the configuration page under the Webkul block, the admin needs to first navigate to the marketplace configuration settings, as you can see here, and under that we need to navigate to the section that's the vendor attribute settings. That's the second last option, as you can see here. So I'll just tap here, and that brings up the vendor attribute settings for the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace by Webkul. So let's go through each of these options one by one, and thereafter we'll show you how to create the custom attributes and then how to assign them to the vendor registration page itself. So here you can see that the first option that we have is the visible on registration. So the custom attributes that the web store admin has created, if you want them to be visible on the vendor registration page, then you need to choose it as a yes, otherwise choose no to disable those custom attributes. If you want to make the custom attributes visible on the profile page of the seller, you can choose a yes for that, and then those attributes would be visible at the seller's profile page, as you can see here. And similarly, you can choose to display the a file display on the vendor profile as well. If this is chosen as a yes, then the sellers would be able to display a file on their vendor profile as well. Then we have the display registration fields group wise, so you can choose it as a yes or a no. So basically here what you can do is you can display the registration fields that you have created according to group wise as well. Then you have image display on vendor profile, that you want to allow the image display on the vendor profile, so you can choose it as a yes or a no. And before that we have the display registration fields group wise. So what happens here is that if the admin has set it as a yes to display the registration fields group wise, that if the company group, if we have a company that's with the name a group with the name company, and if this particular group is selected, then the attribute pertaining to this company would be visible. And if the admin has selected this as a no, then all the available group fields would be visible on the vendor registration page. So if we have set it as according to the group, then the custom attributes for that particular group that we have assigned to it would be visible at the vendor registration page for a customer to choose so as to register himself as a seller. Otherwise, all of the available group fields would be visible on the vendor registration page itself. Then we have the allowed image extensions. So here you can add the image extensions separated by comma. So you can add multiple image extensions here. Then you can set up the allowed file extensions like the PDF file, a zip file, or doc file separated by a comma. So the file display on vendor profile, if it's set to yes, then the allowed file extensions or the allowed file with the file extension that we have mentioned here would be available for the sellers to upload to their profile page. And lastly, we have the seller profile label. So here you can set up the top label, actually this one, from this section, that's the seller profile label. And then you just need to tap here on the save configuration button. And after we're done with the vendor attribute settings, we'll come to the terms and conditions and privacy settings. And from here, the admin can enable the terms and conditions on the vendor registration page, as I have already shown you on the front end workflow. So you can choose a yes to display the terms and conditions that need to be checked before registering himself. So it is there. Then we have the enable terms and conditions on customer registration page. Whether you want to display the terms and conditions on the customer registration page as well, you can choose it as a yes to display them, otherwise choose a no to not display them. You can also set up the privacy pop-up model heading, so whenever that pop-up comes up on the registration page. So the very first option that we had talked about, the terms and condition, whether you want to enable it. If you enable it, then on the create new customer account here, you can see the terms and conditions in the privacy policy. And if we tap here on the terms and conditions, we see a pop-up here, and it also has a heading here. So this heading can also be set up, and the same goes for the privacy and cookie policy. We can set the header and the description as well from the configuration button. Also, if we enable the terms and conditions on the customer registration page, then the terms and conditions that you see here at the last would also be visible here under the section that allows to create a customer account. Then we have the privacy pop-up model heading. So I showed you the privacy policy and the terms and conditions heading, how we can set that, and the description as well. Then we have the model button text. So the button text that we saw after this pop-up comes up, that's the OK button. You can set it as well. You can set the button text color, model button color, the background color for that. You can choose the model animation type, like do you want to have it as a pop-up or you want to have it as a slide to appear from a left to right or right to left system. Then you can set up the show content as, so as an HTML or text. If you choose this as a text, then you can set up the terms and conditions in the text format and the privacy and the cookie policy in text as well. And then these details for the terms and conditions would then be visible like this, as you can see right now. Also, you can choose this as an HTML, and now you can paste the HTML within the terms and conditions and the privacy policy as well as per your own requirement there. And as we know that we can also set up the terms and conditions on the customer registration page as well. Thereafter, you just need to tap here on the save configurations button on the top right hand corner. So we have saved the configuration there, and I just wanted to show you how the pop-up appears for the terms and conditions. So before this it was as a pop-up, but if I tap it now, you can see that it slides from right to left, and the same goes for the terms and conditions as well. So now let's go to the multi-vendor marketplace attribute section. So for that, we'll navigate to the multi-vendor marketplace management section on the top, and then we'll be navigating to the section that's the attribute manager. And here we have the attribute manager and the attribute group manager. So under the attribute group manager, we can manage the attribute groups, and under the attribute manager, we'll be able to create, edit, or delete any of the attributes for the store itself. So let's go to the attribute manager first, and then we'll see the attribute group manager. So now I'll just take you there. So here we are on the manage attribute section, the attribute manager, the first one. Then we have the attribute group manager. So here the admin can add new attributes or can edit the already created attributes. So here you can see that we have the company name, the company description, brands, GST registered, phone number. These attributes were visible on the vendor registration page on the front end. From the drop down here, the admin can delete, manage, display fields, whether you want to display the chosen custom attributes that you have created here. Do you want to display them on the seller profile, or do you want to hide them from the seller profile at the front end? Apart from that, from the drop down, you can also set up the attribute status as enabled or disabled. You can also choose to assign the attribute, for example, to the seller, to the customer, or both as required. You can also assign group to the created attributes like personal or the documents. It depends upon the groups that you have already created under the attribute group manager that we have. So to add a new attribute, you just tap here on the add new attribute button, and that brings up the section to create a new one. In the meantime, I've just taken you to the attribute group manager here. So from here, the admin can find all of the created attribute groups, as you can see, and from the drop down, the admin can apply like delete group and can change the status of any group as enabled or disabled, can delete any group by tapping the delete and then OK button. And apart from that, the admin can tap here on the add new group to add a new group that he wants to get displayed under the manage group section for the attributes of the Magento 2 web store. And here on the new attribute section that we were talking about, we need to set up the properties and the labels for the new attribute. So we can set up a default label that we want to set up, the code attribute. Then we can choose the front end input type. So what input type should be displayed at the front end? So here we have a list with the same like drop down, media image, multiple select, yes, no. You can also make the front end input type as required or not if you want that. So you can choose a yes or a no for that. You can also set up the input validation as decimal number, integer, email. So you can set the input validation for the emails, for the URLs, letters, and other things as well. You can also set up the input field sort order for the created attributes for this particular attribute, where exactly you want to list that up and the on the vendor registration page. And then under the assign group, you will find the different groups that you already created here within the new group section that I've shown you under the attribute group manager. There were two, one was the public and the document one, the personal and the document one. So you can assign this particular created attribute to a single or multiple groups as required, and then just tap here on the save attribute button, and the attribute would be saved. Let me take you back once again and let me edit one attribute to show you the different details within that itself. And while that page comes up, I'll just show you how to create a new group. Just enter the group name. For example, if I set it as test group and set the status, we have set it as enabled. Now we can assign the attributes to this one as well. So let's set brands to it, and let's tap here on the save group button, and that particular group would be saved. As you can see right now, we had created a test grow enabled, and we can edit that as well once again as required. So that was about the attribute groups that we can create. So and these can be assigned to the different custom attributes that we have created. And to add a new group, just tap here on the add new group button. Let me now close it out. And this was the manage attributes, the first one that we had under the attribute manager. And from here we can add the attributes as I've told you, and the other things can be done like the assign group to the chosen. For example, if I choose this particular attribute, then from the actions we can assign a group to this particular attribute. We can also manage this particular custom attribute by, if you want to display it on the seller profile or not. So you can choose to display or hide it from the seller profile as well. And apart from that, you can also set the attribute status as enabled or disabled. You can also assign this attribute to both the customers and the sellers, or only the seller or the customer as required. So first you need to choose the attribute, a single one or multiple, and then now let me edit one attribute here. So I'll just tap here on the edit link under the actions column. So here we have created brands, and under the properties we have set the default label, the attribute code, front end input type is multi-select, values required no, input validation we have not set anything, sort order, and the group to which this particular custom attribute is assigned, it is assigned to documents, and for which user the attribute has been used. So here we have selected the seller already. You can set it as customer, both as well, and below that you can see the manage options or the value of the attributes. So here we have the Magento, OpenCart, PrestaShop, Guru, Shopify, CS Cart. Then we can set up the default vendor panel view. We can delete them. To add more, you can tap add as per your own requirement, and then this particular custom attribute would be visible on the vendor registration page. So let me show you that. So here on the front end registration page you can see that the brands is there. We have given the multi-select option for that, and this is how we created that brand's custom attribute. So that was about the attributes, how we can assign, enable, disable, or manage the attributes from the backend to the customer, or to the seller, or to both of them, and the other things. Now the admin can also see the custom attributes for the sellers. So for that, and here we'll just tap here on the all customers option that we have, and here we are on the list of the customers that we have within Magento multi-vendor marketplace itself. And let's edit this particular seller that we have. That's the general from Brazil country. So I'll just tap here on the edit link, and that brings up the edit customer section. And here under the customer information, the admin can go to the vendor attribute fields on the side panel, and that brings up the additional information regarding this particular vendor that we have, along with the assigned custom attributes and their values. So from here the admin can only edit these details for the customers or the vendors, and from here he cannot assign any to the respective customers. So that was much about the Magento 2 Multi-Vendor Marketplace Vendor Attribute Manager by Webkul, and I hope it helped you out in understanding how this particular plugin works. And if you still have any questions, queries, or suggestions, or maybe any requirements, then you can always get back to us at support@webkul.com, or you may raise a ticket at webkul.uvides.com. Thanks for watching this particular video, and have a